Hi, welcome to Leap Taken. This is Mika, and here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. So, today I want to talk about, as my phone rings, today I would like to talk about conspiracy and belief. They are intertwined. They are intertwined. So what am I talking about? Conspiracy and belief. Okay, I have a working theory, and I've been thinking about this for some time. I think the reason we have so many people who are ripe for belief in whatever the latest conspiracy theory is because there's an absence of relatable spirituality, or spiritual belief. And I'm not talking religion. So let me get into it. Let me break this down a little bit. So I'm just looking down at my notes because I wanted to get this right. Um, Between the Will and Jada thing, we're still within the COVID-19, whatever the latest conspiracy is on that. And then, 5G, Bill Gates, don't forget, remember that? People were tripping about that. To, the moon landing, whatever. The reason people are so willing to believe in these things wholeheartedly, woefully, to the point where it's like almost when you come across more than one of them, they do come across like they're in a cult. It feels like almost cult like. And this is from somebody who practices witchcraft who's saying this. So, I'm just being honest. That's what it seems like to me. It comes across like a cult like belief. Um, you know, you try to talk to them and you say, hey, well, I can actually tell you, we won't even the bigger ones, the flat earthers. You can show them information. There is a woeful belief that whatever if I'm trying to tell you something about, hey, I can actually show you this is a real thing. They don't believe it because they don't want to. They have a vested interest in believing what they want and believing that, I'm the one who's in the dark. I'm the one who's not enlightened. I'm the uneducated one, or I'm the sheep, right? Uh, and this sounds crazy familiar when you think of if you ever come across somebody who's really one of those evangelicals, and people are really into their Bible thumpers, like the real Bible thumpers. You can talk to them. It's not even that you're arguing anything. It's more like, hey, I'm just saying that's not for me, and here's why. And they just keep regurgitating the same information, but they're not giving you anything more than what they think, but they're speaking as if it's fact. Where you're making a position of, hey, I can tell you for sure what's going to work for me and what's not going to work for me because I'm me and I know. But anyway, the point is, to me, it feels like they don't have anything else to believe that strongly in, is what I'm getting at. Um, don't get offended, especially if it's you or somebody you know. But let's just break this down. I see this a lot with people who come into witchcraft or come into practicing some sort of magical system, right? You'll notice that along with that, I watch people like that because I'm nosy and I'm curious, so I like to know. But I notice people like that are very quick to bring in Abrahamic type ideology, not in the belief. They're constantly, they won't let that go at all. So that's point one. Point two, because they want to believe the Sky Daddy is still real. So it's important to constantly have this, male figure still in charge, overseer of everything. They won't let that concept go. And then, along with that, they also want to believe that there's always the powers that be who are controlling things behind the scenes and are trying to trick us and make us, do something or make us, believe in something else. But they're smarter than that and they won't believe in it. And, whether it's about vaccines, whether it's about, like the Bill Gates thing, the 5G or whatever, and they feel so very strongly about it. And there's nothing wrong with that, having strong beliefs. That this is maybe everybody else in society doesn't see it that way. Hello, me, right? I do. Not everybody believes what I do. There's nothing wrong with that. My issue with it is that to me, it's a cry for you are not focused and invested enough in your spirituality because you would understand that the boogeyman, the devil, the powers that be really don't control you. You are a free person if you believe you're free. If you believe that you are free, then you are. And everything is really about a choice. You make decisions in your life that affect consequence and change, intentionally or not. But you ultimately are the author of your life. You're the one writing it, the story. You are the power. You are the man behind the curtain. It's been you all along. It's no one else. So people have influence and money, which buys more power and influence, and that can dictate maybe your available options to choose from, right? But there are people in our society, even with presented with that, they still opt out off-grid living. There are people who do that. They say, well, F it. How about this? I won't make any of those choices. I'm just going to do my whole thing. And I'm not advising that that's what, needs to be done. But I'm just saying that's an example of it kind of to me, it blows the conspiracy theories out of the water because, boom, there you go. They just chose something different. So they won't take part in whatever the societal structure is, capitalism and all that sort of stuff, that even warrants belief in conspiracy theory. They've divorced themselves from it completely. They chose, to believe in, that they ultimately have the power. And I brought up the Sky Daddy piece of that, by the way, earlier, is because that goes back to invested in a belief that somebody else has power. I practice this thing called spirituality, the way I do it, and none of it involves someone having control over me, no entity having control over me. I don't believe my ancestors control me. I don't worship them. I don't believe any deity has control over me, and I don't worship them. I don't have that type of thinking, and I don't find that my life is one big punishment because I don't think that way. But it takes an advanced level of thinking to think that way. And I'm not saying that to be, like put on airs, but I'm a woman of a certain age and you learn things. It takes a certain level of thinking to understand life is not about tests and punishment, at least from the way I see it. Life is about opportunities and experiences. And those will be vast depending on how your mind is open, how you view things. Again, it's back to you and what you believe, what you think, what you're willing to accept and not accept. Ultimately, you're the one in control. So that, again, that's why it's hard for me to get on board with whatever the latest conspiracy theory is. And the people who tend to come to me with that, I take a whole picture look at your life, and now, I begin to analyze, and I begin to look. Not it's not about judging; it's analyze, observe, and I look and I see. Okay, I see this person. They may say that they have this belief. They consciously speak that, but subconsciously, they're not tied into whatever they claim their spirituality is. Because if they were, then they would not even. This wouldn't be occupying that much brain space, that much emotion, whatever this thing that you believe in, I have someone in my life that I know who is strongly, and not someone's quite a few who really believe that everything COVID-19 is pretty much at this point forced and faked and blown out of proportion. They don't want to believe it, and, they find others and, proof, to back that up. The danger in that, which is what I'm getting into next, there's a danger in that. Of course, the danger is if they don't believe that it can happen to them, or that it's really, really happening on the scale that's being reported, then, they can hurt others or they can hurt themselves, right? So that's the danger in that. The danger of believing the earth is flat is that if you are a parent, you're going to teach your children that, and you are setting them back. You're setting them back. Um, you're setting them back. So, yeah. The danger to me in teaching your children um, the Sky Daddy logic, and y'all get mad at me if you're watching this. I'm not trying to offend. I'm just being real frank right now because this has kind of got me like a little pressed because I've heard just one too many in real life people just tell me the craziest things and they believe in it, and I can show you immediately using science that you're wrong. It's not about me finding a video or finding some statistic. Science. I can give you some full-fledged, factual, proven information that was proven by multiple places, multiple sources. That's how experiments work. Anyway, I can explain things to show you and make it make sense. I had to pull out my biology major, aka daughter, to help someone explain to them the concept of coronavirus. Why did we call it COVID-19? We have a president who stood in front of people and said, "Why does it have so many names?" Again, there's a scientific reason on the naming logic, and because other viruses. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. The point is, things can be explained. There's a logical reason, a rational reason, if you're willing to be open to it. But if you're not, ignorance can be dangerous. It's not always bliss. You can harm yourself, you can harm others. You're maybe not always physical, but you could be limiting your children, teaching them that there's, whatever the thing is that you're teaching them, that is, conspiracy theory. There's harm. There's harm that can be done. Um, Conspiracy theory isn't the same, or conspiracy theorist is not the same as a free thinker. Um, I know sometimes people get that confused just because maybe you think outside the box or you don't see things the way, I guess the norm in society sees things. They might call you a free thinker or someone who, like I said, who thinks outside the box. That's not likened to being a conspiracy theorist. To me, I feel like there has to be a level of a submission of willful ignorance. You have to be willing to submit to be willfully ignorant. Block out any new information, not analyzed. Because to me, as someone who, again, I'm always encouraging learning and journaling and finding out more knowledge and, taking that and comparing it to what I already know. Do I add on or do I take away? That's how I do this thing that I do, right? And when I see people who are not wanting to receive any new information, it's automatically wrong, you're wrong because this is what it is, and they're not willing to entertain new information. At least I see when I hear the 5G prime example, I actually looked into it because I was like, what are these people talking about? Is this something I need to be concerned about? So I actually started looking into it. I looked into the Bill Gates thing. I looked into, the inflated numbers or the belief with COVID-19 where if you go into the hospital, and no matter what you die from, it's presumed to be COVID-19. I did look into that. There's more nuance to that broad statement, by the way. Um, what happens is when you come into the emergency room, regardless of your issue, in most hospitals now, they have to treat you almost as if you do have COVID-19 because it would be dangerous for them to think to do otherwise to themselves. So they have to treat you as such. And then once, depending on your symptoms, they really gonna treat you like that. So that's what that's about. Um, and finally, I'm just gonna say this. Sometimes there really is a conspiracy. After all that, yes, sometimes it really is a conspiracy. The Tuskegee Airmen, that situation. A lot happened within American history to blacks, the black people in this country. Though you were right to believe it was a conspiracy, and it really was. the Black Panther Party movement. Yeah, COINTELPRO. Yeah, there really were conspiracies. Um, and for now, who knows what else that we haven't cracked open yet and really exposed. And it's been widely accepted that it was conspiracy. So there's most likely more. Um, so how do you know what's fake and what's real, or what's being exploited to make you believe, or you're being exploited to believe for whatever other agenda? Use discernment. If you practice witchcraft, and you are in tune with your intuition, that will guide you as well. And fear is a big factor in trying to make a decision on what's real and what's not, and trying to, figure that out and navigate the world that we live in. Um, if your fear is dialed in, that's when you should be concerned. When something's playing on your fear, that's when you should be concerned. Um, you know, to me, it's fear, because if you can wake up that fear, what I call the fear monster. That's a term I coined back when I was early years ago when I was writing over. Well, I still do write. I've taken a break over at leaptaken.wordpress.com. That's the blog that I have. I talked a lot about the fear monster and how the fear monster is insidious. It can do a lot of things, and we all have a fear monster. And if you let that fear monster take over, if you let the fear be the navigator of your life, then you will be very, you're going to believe all this sort of stuff. It's going to all make sense to you. And it's scary to let fear take over, because you're scared easily. You can be manipulated very easily into making decisions that, could be to your detriment. So, are there things that are real? Yes, but like I said, if you're tuned into your compass, your internal compass, your intuition, then and this is speaking from experience, then you learn to decipher. And even if you didn't know, you didn't know something, you find out. Once you do, you have a different mindset on how to resolve, what's going on, this new information. You're able to accept that, critically analyze it, and make whatever steps that need to be made, as opposed to someone who is refusing to wear a mask and yelling at other people who are asking you to put on a mask. That's not productive. You're not willing to accept any information, new information, or regurgitated information. You're not willing to accept anything other than you want to hold on to this, and that's it, which again can be to your detriment. So overall, I just relate conspiracy theory to just being an absence of connection to spirituality. I really do. You're not balanced. You're not. If you, it's important for you to not have accountability in your life. I'm just breaking it down for those who are, and I'm talking about those who are hook, line, sinker in whatever the issue is. It's like a cult thing with them. But you need to change your focus. There's something missing in your life. Because you're really wanting to believe that there's always something more powerful, someone or something much more powerful, who is always pulling the strings, the man behind the curtain, and you are just, you feel like because you're aware of this, somehow you're more empowered. When the reality of it is belief in that, singular belief in that, to the point where that's kind of like your culture, your religion, so to speak, where it's occupying so much brain space and emotional space, and your attention, your focus. It's I don't know. To me, it just shows that you're struggling with a big dark hole, a deep hole to be filled, and spirituality would do that for you. And what spirituality looks like for you might not be the same as me. I understand that. So I'm not saying how I do things is how you should do things, but I do believe that that's what it's about. I strongly believe that's what something's missing. Something's missing. And we have a large number of people in our country, in our society, who are missing that. And I look at my own people, black people, and I see that for sure. Because there's a rejection of a lot of this Abrahamic religion right now. And I understand that because it doesn't fit. And there's a reason it doesn't fit. So, these people are looking for something. And, this whatever, like I said, the latest conspiracy theory is what's filling that void. So, I just wanted to give my thoughts on that. And if you feel differently, that's okay. That's okay. You can feel differently. But this is how I feel. I don't want to make anybody feel bad or discredit them, or even if you don't really believe in all the conspiracy theories, but you do believe in that 5G thing. Does that mean you're devoid of spirituality and that you have a void in you? Maybe, I don't know. But if anything, I hope that I made you start to question that about yourself, which is a good thing. It's okay to analyze and to question and accept new information and new ideas. I'm not saying dismiss everything. I'm just saying that if you wholeheartedly, willfully just only believe this one thing and you're not willing to examine new information ever when it comes to this, yeah, that might be an issue. I'm just saying, evolve. We should be all, emotionally evolving and intellectually, stimulated and be willing to be open. Even pagans, even people who practice witchcraft, be open. It's kind of what a lot of this is about anyway. But anyway, thank you for watching. This is Mika, Leap Taken. Please like this video. I would really appreciate it. And go ahead and subscribe if you have not already subscribed. I'd really appreciate that. And again, if you subscribe, I really thank you. I really appreciate it. All right, bye.